make sure you feel that what you're doing is in your heart. It's something you want to do for yourself. You want it as a part of your life, or somebody that you care very much about. Don't try to think out, what would other people need? What could I build for them? Because then it's not that personal to you. You aren't as motivated. So make sure that you're really building that you are the market that you understand very well. Don't just go on, other people will be able to use it this way and I'll sell it to them. And once I'm done, I'll go and start something else.
Yeah.
Try to work on something, startups, that this is something you're going to put your life in, your heart and soul. And you hope that company goes on forever and ever for the rest of your life. And not just, it's a little step that I'll create it, I'll sell it, and I'll make an exit.
Yep,
yes,
absolutely.
I also say that to come up with ideas, a lot of people nowadays come out of business school and they want to prepare ideas on paper. I have this new idea that nobody's done yet. And can I go raise money? Because you always need some money to start something. First of all, try to go as far as you can with the least amount of money, because you'll own more of what you get in the end. Create some working models, whether it's physical hardware or an on-the-screen, a virtual demonstration of things that people can use to see how it's really going to work with our own muscles using this thing and our real interaction with it. Try to get that far yourself. Also, if you're only a business person, try to find some real smart techies and look for the type, not that got good grades or something or took the right courses. Look for the ones that have built things in their life, even if they didn't go to college at all. If they built things in their life, they always find a way, and whatever education's needed, they can get online, or in the old days we'd say out of books. They're going to get the learning done. But you find those kind of people that build things, they are so clever. They've had to solve problems and make things smaller and tighter. And if they've built enough things in their life, they have clever approaches. They will think of more ideas than you had. Well, you had your idea, what we could sell to the public. They will have some good little touches to it, ways to simplify it, make it perfect. Look for that kind of person that isn't just capable, but is an artist at what they do. What it is represents themselves and has to be beautiful in the eyes of another developer. Well, I measure my success not by business success like Apple Computer and other businesses. I measure it more by happiness in the world. And the biggest important thing to me was I came upon some formulas when I was 20 years old, life philosophies, that I would be very happy forever. I was also very lucky to be so talented and smart in electronics that I would never worry about a job. Most people probably worry a little bit. I've got to have employment. I've got to keep things going. And so that's a lot tougher for them than what I had. Yeah. As far as my biggest success, or what's meant the most to me, I think representing the fact that an engineer can be a very important person in the world in starting things that go a long ways. You don't have to grow up a businessman, marketing. You don't have to be socialized. You could be a geek and have some ideas and build some devices and really have a great effect. And I stand up for all those other people that are outsiders in school. They're excluded, but they have brains and they have thinking and they want to be somewhere, but it's hard for them to act like they are competent. And I hope I give a lot of those people confidence that they really can, that they really have some value that's going to come out. There are a lot of rules that you would learn in a university business class, a marketing class, that I don't even know how to tell if a product's marketable. And you could follow those, and they probably have some relevance, just like the rules of how, what stocks are going to increase because of what parameters. And very often, sometimes it turns down to if you have a better intuition, if you played with ideas of products and markets before in your past. Yeah. You're not a newcomer doing it for the very first time. At least then you have some better ideas of what works and what doesn't. You have your own rules.
Yes.
One of the things is you should be driven by a personal desire to use what you're making or a love for it. I love how I'm going to be able to help these people with something they really need. Maybe you're building a device that helps, an invalid walk or something like that. Well, you can feel so desperately. I've always in my life wanted to help those kind of people. Well, help the invalids. If you're saying, I just sort of know the marketing. I know that they want it. I know that it will sell. I know the price. I know we'll make money and I'll market it. Well, I'm sorry. You're not the interesting person to the world, and you're not going to create, another Apple. Well, when it comes to having no capital when you're starting out, I think back to our early times at Apple. Obviously, after Apple was successful with one product, it had huge amounts of capital to invest in others. But we started out, and we had Steve Jobs and we were in our young 20s. We not only had no savings account in a bank, We had no relatives with a bunch of money.
Yeah.
We had no experience in business. We had not taken business courses at a university or anything. We just had our heads and a sense for, where things were going to go. So we decided not to start out, I got to go seek a huge amount of money and be huge. We decided to actually start our company at a very small level, a few $100s from Steve, a few $100s from me. I sold my most valuable possession, my Hewlett-Packard scientific calculator. And we put this money in, and we were going to start out a very small level of business. And very quickly, people saw what we had and appreciated it and gave us orders for a higher level of business.
Yeah.
And we had to start worrying about, where do you get the money? We cannot get the money to build 1,000 computers. We did have one friend who loaned us $5,000. But mainly we got the parts on credit. That means after the parts are opened up, all the parts that go into your computer, you have 30 days to pay for them. We could build the computers. They were built at not in our place. We didn't do any manufacturing ourselves. But we got them built up, and then we drove them down to a computer store that paid cash. So the computer store owner, Paul Terrell, took the risk. He believed that this was a market that was going to happen. Yeah. And he took the cash risk, really. He was really the key investor in a way. It was indirectly. Yeah. But we did. But Steve and I managed to do it with absolutely no money of our own.
Yeah, so it can be done.
Yes. Now, once we got through a little bit of a level, we slowly built up a bank account to $10,000. And that would be more money in today's dollars, of course. That was a long time ago. And that was just enough. We could say, well, now we can move into this little office building complex. We have enough money to rent an office space, and we have just enough sales to the 30 or so stores that there were in the world, that we could sell our little Apple ones to. We just enough to keep our business going. So we took tiny steps. But with our real product, the Apple II, we knew it was so great. It was going to really change the world forever and make this whole industry happen. And that one, we started looking around for some bigger money, enough money to build 1,000 computers. Not enough money to build 50 or 100, enough money to build 1,000. And that was so much money, we had to start talking money talk. And part of my philosophies are engineering, mathematics, scientists, logic, reason. Stay away from finances and money, Steve. It's hokey baloney to you. So Steve Jobs had to handle the business ends. Yeah. And he went out pursuing the money in a lot of ways. But we never exceeded a very large amount of money. One of the things is if you go a long ways with very little money, by the time you have something successful, you will own a much higher percentage of it than other people who just want to take money right off the top and then go hire the engineers. That's another idea. I'll get the money and then I'll hire the engineers. No. Include the smart, clever problem solvers from day one in all of your ideas. Include one of them at least. Yeah. One technical person who can actually build what you're dreaming of. It's kind of like in life, you can even get married a lot and find out, everything was perfect. It all added up. Yeah. We had similarities in so many things, and they went away. So you can't be sure. Steve and I bumped into each other accidentally. We were introduced by a friend who went to the same school. We went to the same high school. Okay. Steve and I. We didn't know each other in high school, but we had similar interests, which was digital technology and pranks, playing pranks in school, having fun, So we met, and we didn't have extremely identical backgrounds, but we had a lot of common interests in philosophies of life and the counterculture thinking that life could be very different, and music, words by Bob Dylan, became our big thing. So we went to concerts together. So we just stumbled into each other because we were close. Look at Apple Computer. Of the first 10 people in Apple, 7 of them were from the same high school. When you're young and starting up and you don't have much money, you tend to grab people around you that are friends. And a lot of them never even worked for Apple. They participated in our thought process, but they didn't have to be paid money or anything at that time.
Absolutely perfect.
By the way, I do though say whoever is around you and key to you coming up with the ideas to start a company, and you start one, and you and another person have all the stock in the world, and those people you were talking to, they were part of your ideas too. Treat them as founders when you can. Because when Apple went public, we had a few people that were around us in those garage days. They had zero stock, and the rest of us at the top were super wealthy. Yeah. And so Steve Jobs turned down giving them any stock from the company. So I took actually $20 million of today's dollars of my own stock and gave it to 5 people just because they were sitting around the dinner table talking about ideas with us.
Yeah.
They deserved it. I think of family. I didn't do things for money. I did it for technical reasons, to build great products, and for the right reasons in life. I do everything. I've always been thinking of technological ideas and how to increase our computers, and we can get them up to someday when they're just like a smart human talking to you. And someday they might even be smarter than us. I mean, Google is smarter than anybody for searching up information than asking somebody with a brain. And nowadays, I'm starting to lead me to thinking, if I only had a way, there's no way we can tear down this whole technology world that's starting to become more important than the humans. We live our lives according to what technology there is to get us places, and things like self-driving cars are coming, and we're just sort of a passenger in the technology world, and we can't give it up. And because if we gave it up, we don't have an alternative.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing I could think of an idea that would start to tear a lot